I do not support the sit at home, the protest. Well, it's not even a protest. I do not support the what is called is civil disobedience. It is a mechanism that is used all over the world. It has been used in America, it has been used in Asia, it has been used in Africa, it has been used all over the world. It is a universal means by which citizens or individuals agitate against the authority without necessarily going violent. But it have come to the Nigerian situation where you do not want people to protest, go out and protest, carry placards and the rest. And then they have decided to sit back at home peacefully. You still do not want that to happen. Like I said, I do not support the sit at home in the southeast because it is really telling on the economy, it is telling on the productivity of the southeast. I do not also support the movement for secession, but here we are not even talking about secession right now. We are talking about people asking for the release of their leader. The leader, we have to understand, has been sentenced. So if the court have sentenced you to prison, all you have to do is see through your sentence or you appeal the sentence. But then, if a people are agitating, whether right or wrong, whether you think they are right or they are wrong, you just have to listen to their agitation, listen to why they are agitating rather than forcing them to stop. They are being peaceful. They do not open their shops on Mondays. Chukuma Soludo just recently became governor for the second time. The IPOB sit at home has been on before Chukuma became governor. So he needed to understand that. Maybe if I would advise, there is the one they call sit down action. Maybe the IPOB or the people agitating for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Maybe they should go to their workplaces, to their shops, open up their shops, and sit down there without making sales. I think that will better manage the situation because you can actually go sit down, open your shops, and don't make sales for the rest of that day and then go home. You have been able to obey the authorities and you have been able to achieve your sit at home. You can say sit at work, sit down action. That's on the lighter note. But then I had always advised that the IPOB supporters or agitators should rather vote people from amongst them to take up leadership positions in government. You know, vote for your members to occupy political positions, to become members of House of Reps, House of Assembly, to become members of the Senate. You can even sponsor your member to contest for governorship. You have the crowd. The federal government do not really influence state elections. It's not that they don't, but it's very difficult for them to do. That's why Abia State can insist on Alex Oti. The National Assembly elections are largely for the state. And you have the numbers, you have the zeal. You can vote for these people. They might not necessarily give you Biafra, but they can protect your interest at the federal level. Left for the governors who are aligned with the federal government, you complain are your problem or is your problem. They will always align, they will always need the federal allocation. So they might not represent your interest, neither will they protect it. Just like Soludo, for example, he will only use you as a political tool to achieve his own selfish goals. He had promised to release Nnamdi Kanu or to talk about it or to influence the release the first time. When he got into power, he went back on that promise. He came again the second time. He used Nnamdi Kanu again to get your vote, you know, and still he's going back on the promise. But then the people who are calling out the people that are sitting at home, you are being unfair because these people, no matter how you see it, are trying to hold government accountable. And this is what is lacking in Nigeria. The moment we start holding leaders accountable, they will start doing the right thing. Allow them to hold them accountable, even people who are not from Anambra State, even people who are not even Southeasterners, are calling them out for what? They have a grievance, they have something, whether they are right or wrong, that they are agitating for. And to say the least, those people do not have problem with Anambra State government. They are not agitating against the Anambra State government. They would have loved for the Anambra State government to speak for them, which is not happening. So they are speaking for themselves. So it shouldn't really be a thing that Soludo should come into to want to enforce. How can you explain asking me to come out against my will? Chapter 4 of the Constitution or Decree of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has protected human right, the right to freedom of movement. The right to freedom of movement also contains or connotes the right to freedom of the choice not to move. So if you have the right to move, you also have the right to not move. So why are you asking people to move when they do not want to move? You're infringing on their human right. Is a universal right. It is a natural law that people decide where to go and when to go to where they want to go. You cannot make that decision for them. There is also the right to freedom of association. People have the right to associate. People have the right to become IPOB members. As long as I can remember, the IPOB has not been proscribed as an association that people should not associate with. It's not a terrorist organization. There is a court that nullified that proscription. So people are free to become members of the IPOB and flaunt it as long as they are not causing chaos to the extent that they are peaceful. They are operating within the confines of law. So why are you disturbing them? And if you are supporting the moves by Soludo, I think you too, you should as well say Buhari was right when he ordered the military to hit on the NSAS protesters. Because what's the difference? Because what's the difference? If I am coming out to protest against oppression, then you order the military to fire, it's not different from the other person staying back home as an agitation against perceived oppression, and you are ordering them to come out. It's order. But government, modern day government, the one we call democracy, if that's what we actually have, is operated on dialogue, conversations. There is a reason religion is so strong, no matter how much that the freeze or whoever preaches against tithes and the gullibility of Christianity. The gullibility grows. The reason is simple: sophistry. You see how the pastors massage the egos of their worshippers, how calmly, how promising. You give people hope, you befriend them, you make them like you, and you can get whatever you want from those people, especially from Nigerians who are poor. You know, when you are poor, you become easily gullible. What about befriending these people? They are your citizens. You are supposed to be like their father. What about speaking to them calmly? What about conflict resolution strategies? I do not think Peter Obi is better than any candidate, because when it comes to Nigeria, nobody should talk about better. We are all the same, but we express our sameness differently. Nobody should talk about morality in Nigeria. Nobody should talk about I am good and you are bad. The country is built on corruption. The country is built on immorality. The country is built on wrong foundation. So nobody can say this is better than the other. But it's how you go about the lamentation of self that matters. Peter Obi endears people to himself, and that's the difference. I don't know about, go and verify. I don't know what he has done that another state governor have not really done. But we can give it to him that he does not have any record of financial misappropriation. That's a standout characteristic. It's almost impossible to have that within the Nigerian political space. But that's not even what matters, really. What matters is a leader that will do what they are supposed to do. In fact, for Nigeria, Nigerians are ready for you to take as much money you want to take from the government, as long as you just give them electricity, good roads. What else do Nigerians actually want or expect from government? Our goals are very little. We just want the basics of life, and you can go ahead and take all the bullion vans from government for just that little that you can comfortably do becomes an uphill task. I do not understand how our politicians are designed. And then someone decides not to go out to protest or destroy properties. And then you are saying they must open the shops, that they are sabotaging the economy, which is true. But why are you not looking at the reason they are sabotaging the economy? Why is it a problem? Facing the root causes. To the best of what I know, Nnamdi Kanu has long ago outlined a few conditions that, if met, they will give up on their struggle. These conditions are not difficult for any governor to meet. Why is Soludo and the other governors from the southeast, why are they not trying to meet? It's not like conditions. There are the basics that every citizen should demand from government. What is it on the items that were mentioned by Nnamdi Kanu that Soludo cannot achieve? Will Soludo not be happy to be the person whose name will be planted in the history of Anambra State as the one who started the seaport in Anambra State? Will Soludo not be happy to be credited for quality roads in Anambra State? They already have an airport. There are airports in the southeast. Will those governors not be happy to be credited for, I am the one who established an international wing to our state airport? The Igbo are the most traveled in the world. The people who travel the most do not have an international wing in their airport, and you expect them to be happy. You expect them to come out and do whatever you say just because you are the, like you say, the chief security officer of the state. And truly, it shows you are actually the chief security officer of the state because you're surrounded by about 50 security men. Have you asked yourself how secured the people who you would have loved to come out and open their shops are? I think in Nigeria, the ratio is one police officer to 1,000 Nigerians. If only you, just an individual, would be moving with up to 50 police officers, what that means is that you alone is taking officers away from 50,000 people. If my math is right, did you not see how greedy you are? Only you takes away officers that would have secured 50,000 people. Your wife will take hers. Other members of your families will take theirs. Members of your cabinet will take theirs. At the end of the day, how many officers are left to secure the people of Anambra State? Out of those officers who would be left to secure the people of Anambra State, 99% of them will oppress the people, who want to take bribe from the people, who want to, you know, assault the people. Why don't you think about that? If you, members of your family and members of your cabinet, will take all the security to yourselves, Who are the people that are going to guarantee the security of those people that are willing to not stay at home? Because there are a lot of people who will not want to stay at home, but they are afraid of going out. How much assurance have you given them so that when they come out, they are protected? But I thought someone who is educated, you are a professor, would have treated the issue better. If you want to sit at home, by all means sit at home. It is you that will be hungry. But while sitting at home, do not stop those who do not want to sit at home, else I will stop you. It is if people are coming out to do their businesses and they are being attacked. That is when you can face those that are attacking them. But there is no record of people, to the best of my knowledge, coming out to do their normal businesses, to live their normal life, and they are getting attacked. What this means is that the sit at home has moved from a mere response to perceive marginalization by state to a symbol of solidarity. People are willingly staying at home. You cannot force them out. That's a move by an uneducated person. Some people say school na scam. It is decisions like this that make people to think like that. Because as a professor, you should know better. You are held in high esteem. But you are acting like someone who never saw the blocks. To what end? Who are you trying to please? Are you trying to sell your state out? But you have to understand one thing. If you left the windows of your house open to the enemies, it makes it easy for the enemy to come in and chop off your hand. You make it easier for the enemy if, having left your window open, and you put your hand out through the window, the enemy will not have to go through the burden of going into your house. He will just stand outside and chop off your hand. You are doing both. You've left the windows of Anambra State open by that action. You've also put out the hand of the Anambra. You are making Anambra more vulnerable. How are you going to address this issue? The people have called off your bluff. They are all out protesting. What will you do? You will shoot at them. I promise you, if the police or the military take the life of any of those protesters, the issue will go out of your control. People from other states will get angry, other states in the southeast, and they will come out, and the whole of the southeast will return to where it has been struggling to live. Is that what you want? The IPOB issue is bigger than Anambra State. It's an issue that is bigger than the entire Southeast. It is a national issue that has an international dimension. It is not your fight. The best you should do is to intercede, is to if it is a truth and reconciliation committee, you can spearhead it. You can put the government and your people on a table and say, let's talk. That's what leadership is about. I do not understand this force, and The people who support this madness, I actually do not understand you. All right, there is an aspect to this thing again. You can decide to make Saturday a working day, but you will not do that out of ego. Leave them their Monday and make Saturday official. That way, you've been able to get your 5 official days for the week. It is when you leave their Monday for them and take Saturday, and they want to come and take your Saturday, that people will start saying, now they look for trouble. He has been able to avoid you to the best of his ability. But governance in Nigeria is wholesomely reactive. The people who occupy these offices are people who are supposed to be farmers, peasant farmers, not mechanized, because the way our leaders think, the way they act, it is really shameful. Then again, you said with your mouth, vote me, and I would carry the burden of Nnamdi Kanu. Vote me, and I will try to release him. That is you giving them promise. There are people who voted you only because of that promise. Do they not have the right to ask you to fulfill the promise? If you're not fulfilling the promise, that means you tricked them. That means you deceived them. Why are people not looking at it from that angle? We are just bent on let the Southeast economy work, let the Southeast economy thrive. Will the Southeast economy thrive when you're reacting with provocation by shutting down the market for a week? A day and a week, which one would sabotage the economy the more? You've even gone ahead to say after a week and they didn't come back, you will shut it down for a month. You can even bring Caterpillar and bulldoze the entire market. As an economist, is that how to safeguard or promote the economy of the state? What color of economics did you study in school, and where is the school that gave you the certificate as an economist? When all the certificate would lead you to do is to sabotage an already sabotaged economy. How does that make sense? And there is an aspect of, I have also even been a victim of that. People saying the IPOB, the IPOB. For goodness sake, those people who shut down their shops are not members of the IPOB. They have not identified as IPOB members. They have their Igbo brother, Nnamdi Kanu, who they think has been unjustly imprisoned. When Soludo went to that market to give those orders, how many IPOB members did he see there? He went with military. If he saw IPOB members, he would have arrested them because that's what they do. So there was no IPOB member there. They were just Anambra State citizens, Anambra State's peaceful residents. So to say it is IPOB, I do not think it's an argument that will see the light of day. Nobody identified themselves. There wasn't any IPOB flag. There were no IPOB colors anywhere. They were just Anambra State citizens. So why all the fuse? Why are you taking for granted their quest? Even if you would not or may not be able to meet their demands, why don't you handle it with diplomacy? Why the force? Why the force? The IPOB agitation is psychological. The IPOB agitation is ideological. It is not a conflict that can be managed by force. Dear Charles Chukuma Soludo, I would love you to look to the history and trajectory of this thing. If you are not fair to history, posterity will not be fair to you. Historically, these kinds of agitation are never contained by force. The IPOB, for example, there is no force the Anambra state government will unleash that has not been unleashed before. There have been the python dance, there have been the crocodile smile, there have been the shoot at sight, there have been all kinds of anti-IPOB attacks. But the more you did that, the bigger the movement grows. The only thing that can stop that movement is justice. And not justice for the Southeasterners, justice for all. Let me tell you something. The moment those clamoring for Biafra are justified, the moment they are made to feel belonging to the Nigerian project, the IPOB agitation will die a natural death. They can even forget about Nnamdi Kanu because a lot of people think this is just about Nnamdi Kanu. No, it's bigger than Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu is just the frontier. A movement is bigger than the movers. If you finish everybody that is IPOB today, it is a matter of time before a new set will spring up because there is a history that they are looking up to. Unfortunately, this history has not been told properly because if the history were told properly, some of these agitations would not come up or will not be as high as they are. And that's why there is a question on the National Orientation Agency. What sort of a department is that? What are they taking salaries for? The Igbo person, this might not make sense, is that person that wants the unity of Nigeria the most. Their quest for secession is a move towards self-help because they have seen that the unity that they want is not it's at their own expense. The Igbo are everywhere in this country. So those people are not the people that will be asking for secession because if that happened, half of their population will be living in another country and they might be faced with the grudges that will come from the other countries because the other country wouldn't have wanted to secede. A lot of them would be displaced, a lot of them will be pushed out of their homes because you people have asked for your country, so go back to your country. So they are the ones that will be affected the most. They know this, but because you are not listening to them, we are not even saying solve the problem. Listen to them, speak with them. Why is that difficult to happen? How do you even expect the Igbo to feel knowing that Nnamdi Kanu is serving a life imprisonment and Sheikh Gumi is walking the streets granting press interviews? How will you want the IPOB or the Igbo person to feel? What is it that Nnamdi Kanu actually did that Gumi haven't done? What exactly? Gumi is part of the reason Nigeria got attention from the United States of America, enough for the Sokoto Caliphate or for Sokoto State to be attacked. But the son of the president visits him. High profile leaders visit him. He is friends with the Sokoto Caliphate. He is friends with almost every prominent northern politician or leader. But Nnamdi Kanu is in prison. The federal government needs to say what it is they have against the Igbo, because I normally would want to say it is everybody who is not connected to the political class that is being marginalized. But there is an aspect to it that is specially for the Igbo. We will take the Gumi Nnamdi Kanu example. It is very clear. Everybody can see it. What is the problem? The only thing Africa knows how to do is to create problems. Africa does not know how to solve problems. I challenge you, since 1960, they said you got independence. Mention one problem of Nigeria that any leader has solved. Only one. We are in Nigeria many years after. Candles are still being sold in the markets. Candlesticks. Not purchasing those candlesticks to say prayers or to do incantations, but to serve as lights in the living room. Candlesticks. Since 1960, there is nothing, not just one problem of Nigeria that has been addressed, not even one. We are in a country that is having the national grid fall every month. Every month. The national grid has fallen to the extent that the president have started falling. He is in Turkey, falling left and right. The national grid is falling. The national president is falling. The economy is falling. The naira is falling. But prices of commodities are going up. What sort of a country? And if people decide to say, we do not want to take this, you are forcing them to take it. Have anybody come to shut down the government house? What is your problem? Allow people to be. If you do not want them to sit at home, address the reason why they are sitting at home. Why is it difficult? You have voted to be governor because you should address the reasons for the sit at home. Why are you not addressing it? What does it cost for you to appease those people who sit at home? What are you doing with the monies that belong to the state? You are supposed to use the money to address the sitting at home, but you do not want to do that. You want to force them out, to pretend everything is all right. It is not going to work. Like I said, I am not a member of the IPOB. I do not support the IPOB because I do not support secession. I do not support sit at home. I would appeal to the IPOB to sit at home, but you cannot force them out. You can't do that. It doesn't happen anywhere. Be mindful of yourself more for.